Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Carrie Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. So you guys are going to laugh because last week I was at our other house. We have a cabin out in California in the mountains. And I was like so proud of myself. I had recorded a couple podcast episodes ahead of time, all my meditations for the Millionaire Mindset program ahead of time, all these things I had prepared for. Now, keep in mind though, Jake was off and he was hosting a men's retreat the week prior to that. And so I was riding solo with the kids. And of course, Peyton kindly gave me whatever virus he had. And I was like down for the fucking count for that whole week. I mean, fever, chills. I thought I had COVID. I didn't, but I had the body aches. It was awful. It was so awful, you guys. But I made it through. I flew out to California. We had a lovely week at the cabin. It was cold because it's snowy up there. We're about a mile above sea level. And I get an email from my podcast producer and the production company. And they're like, hey, we didn't see a podcast come through this week, which totally fine. But if you want to record one and upload it by tomorrow, we can still get it out on time for the Tuesday drop. And I was like, no. I totally thought that I had planned ahead, and I thought that I had worked ahead a week more than I had. And so last week, this week, at the time of recording, we actually ended up taking off from the podcast. So I don't want to do that again because I don't want to miss a week. And I love recording these. So you guys hopefully use that time to catch up on old episodes, to binge listen and all the things. But I mean, in the meantime, so much has happened. Can we just talk about Rihanna for a second? I made a post on Facebook today, and I'm going to read it to you so that you know exactly what I said. Okay, I said, because I posted this today, as a talented female billionaire, Rihanna is proof that you will never do the right thing for the wrong crowd. Do you anyway, boo? Hashtag Riri vibes. Now, of course, there's a few things in there that are totally subjective, whether or not somebody thinks that she's talented, whether or not someone cares that she's a billionaire, as if that really, affects who she is as a human being. But let's just talk about the fact that this musician, who is a beautiful female artist, again, subjective, beautiful in my opinion, gets up and performs at Super Bowl in front of an audience that there is a small handful of people in that inner circle that can say, yes, I've had that experience. I have handled that level of publicity, that size of the audience. I mean, there are not many people in that club, myself included. I've never obviously performed at the Super Bowl. And so it makes me laugh when I think about all the people that are just sitting back, with their bucket of popcorn and want to weigh in on all the things on why Rihanna is you should just go to my Facebook page to look. I'm getting messages from previous clients oh my gosh, your post, what the fuck? It's just crazy, the collective consciousness. So the point of me making that post was entirely based on the fact that you can own fully, all of you. You can have one of the most desired spots in TV history on the Super Bowl in front of the largest audience, and you still will never be good enough or do it right or do it the way that they want you to ever. And that's okay. But this is really just about deeper ownership of who you are. Going out there and performing, let alone pregnant, to an audience of that size, that would be crazy. I mean, can you imagine? I think that you would have to get off that stage and just make a silent promise to yourself that you will not read feedback. You will not look at Facebook posts. You will not look at viral memes. Like, how could you? If you do that, you probably question your whole existence and like your whole entire life purpose. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? So I say all that to say, like, I just can't imagine performing to that level, to that scale, and then also being ripped apart. Because even if it were, some people were arguing that it was, you know, an inappropriate show and they didn't like some of the gestures that she was doing and they said she sexualized the performance. Here's the thing. Appropriate according to what? Look at different cultures. Different cultures allow or don't allow, or however you want to say it, different ways that women show up with their body and behaviors they consider acceptable and appropriate. So, okay, based on what is the first question. The other is the post that I made said nothing about whether or not I thought the show was appropriate or inappropriate, but people took that as a sign that just because you're for Rihanna means that you also are for everything that happened in the performance. I thought it was a great performance. I didn't think it was inappropriate. I also don't get triggered by people that are connected to their body. And I don't know, people were saying she was wiping her crotch. I didn't even notice that, if I'm being honest with you. And the other thing, she had probably the most amount of clothing on that any artist on the Super Bowl or any stage for that matter, musically, had on ever. So I don't know. I mean, even if it were an appropriate show, let's say, for the sake of argument, I still feel like people would find fault with something. I mean, there are people posting conspiracy theories on my Facebook posts. There are people talking about how she's like a demon worshiper, like a devil worshiper, that she's part of the dark veil. Then there's people that are talking about their money beliefs, that you need to sell your soul to become a billionaire. It's just so fascinating. No one's wrong. No one's right. It's just really interesting to see everyone's projected beliefs on this singular post, which, again, the only, in my opinion, two pieces here that are kind of subjective or allude to anything are that she's talented and that she's a billionaire. But otherwise, I felt like my post was mostly neutral. So it's very interesting. And I mean, let this be deeper permission that if you are someone that has been holding yourself back from being fully expressed, that if you're worried about what people are going to think, if you have been fearing judgment or saying the wrong thing, you're going to say the wrong thing because there's going to be people that are always just waiting with pitchforks for you to mess up or for you to say something that is not in alignment to their values and beliefs. But the thing about beliefs is they are a personal experience. They are not factual truth. If we look at a factual truth, it's something such as it's 72 degrees outside. That's a fact. We can't argue with a fact, right? It's a black and white, neutral, unemotional fact. But what somebody does with that fact, maybe they say, oh, 72 degrees is hot. Maybe someone else says, oh no, that's chilly. I would need a jacket. So now we start to see where beliefs and subjective perceived and perceptions and experiences start to come out, because that's totally subjective based on who is experiencing that fact, right? And so we get to question what our beliefs are. But that's the cool thing. Like, we can change any belief that we want to, and we will upset people that are more committed to their current beliefs rather than expanding the way that they see things. So you will do the wrong thing, you will say the wrong thing, but you won't ever do that to the right people. And what I mean by that is like the people that get you, the people that see you for who you are. And there's a lot of freedom in that once you give a lot less fucks. In fact, I have a client of mine and we recently were connecting and we were like, hey, we need to catch up. Like, let's schedule a little like, Zoom chat or FaceTime. And I was like, dude, like you blew up on Facebook. And what I have witnessed and what I have observed from her, and we haven't caught up yet. So she was at, let's see, when she first started posting some of the reels on her Facebook page, this is like her personal profile. She was not at this number, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm noticing like all these shares and all this engagement. She's getting like 60 shares, 1,000 likes on posts, 24,000 followers. And I'm like, I don't know what she had before, but I know it wasn't that many. And then I noticed that was 3 days prior. We were texting. And then next thing you know, she's posting, oh my gosh, like celebrating 30,000 followers, like 3 days later. Now she's up to 64,000 followers. Like this isn't a matter of a couple weeks. But guys, this is like just as many people that are for her and for her message and are absolutely loving all of her ownership of who she is and like her fucking power and her voice and the way that she delivers messages and like her full ownership of whatever that looks like. For just as many people that are for her, there are also people that are just, like total negative, like naysayers. And they are coming down on her hard with some of these comments. Like just honestly, keyboard warriors and haters that have nothing better to do. Because you're like, okay, if you're not for me, like move along. I mean, people commenting on her body. She's a fitness coach and saying like, don't take advice from this person. I would never take advice from her. And I'm just so proud of the way that she has fully owned all of who she is, because to watch her expansion has been awesome. And she's a force. She's an incredible human. She's doing cool things in the world. And to watch her fully own that, she also has to walk with she doesn't have to walk with them, but she has to also navigate not pleasing everybody, not being for everybody, and pissing some people off simply because she exists, simply because her light is on, and that will piss people off. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you haven't been speaking your truth, if you feel like you've been holding yourself back from owning fully who you are, whether it be online or in private, however that looks for you, like get out there, know that you're going to piss people off, know that you're going to do it wrong according to them, and show the fuck up anyway. Because that's Riri vibes. So whether or not you like Rihanna, whether or not you liked the performance, that is irrelevant. What I am pointing you to, and what I'm inviting everyone that's listening to for this episode, is that no matter who you are and what you do, there will always be people that are unhappy with that. Right? And I'd rather live my life according to my truth than trying to appease other people based on theirs. You'll never win. It'll never be enough. So you can never do the right thing for the wrong crowd. I hope this message finds you well, and I'll see you here next week on Literally First Class. Drop a hashtag, and we'll check out those first class moves.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously, though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithcarrie.com and we'll see you inside.